Another Christmas. Let's go. 4 rounds down, 4 to go. Good boy. Where we're at in the season right now, it's really coming to the end of the season, 3 weeks out from World Champs. So yeah, all 4 major qualifying races have taken place. I was lucky enough to be healthy and qualified for all 4, so that was awesome being able to compete in Amsterdam, Hong Kong, Las Vegas, and then finally Glasgow for these 4 majors. Since then, there's also been the last chance qualifier in Barcelona, where 3 more athletes from the guys and the girls fields were able to qualify. So the whole Elite 15 field has been set now, both on the guys and girls side. Also, the whole Elite 15 doubles has been set on both sides through the qualifying races from those. I raced in Paris just a month ago or so, where I managed to qualify with my favorite Italian, Eugenio Bianchi. We came, first, but then relegated to second because of a later heat, beating us by, I think, 2 seconds. But that was still good enough to get our qualifying spot. We got second out. We needed top 3, so that was super exciting, and to get that spot with Eugenio. And leading into the race, I'm obviously going to be competing on a Thursday. I think it's June 12th, on the Elite 15 singles race. The next day, Friday, will be the national relay team race. Now, I'm the captain and the coach for our New Zealand team. I did decide to not partake in the race, but I'll be on the floor with our Kiwis and full support / coach mode for them through that race. And then Saturday, the day after that evening will be the Elite 15 doubles, where Eugenio and I will be sending it, putting out everything we have left in the tank to try to hopefully get one of the top spots in the doubles race. So yeah, that's kind of the weekend. 3 days of full-on racing. The middle day I'll be able to physically rest a little bit, but we'll be very involved in the relay and at the venue and everything. So really looking forward to the weekend. Okay, so with regards to a little injury I've had at the moment, so it set me back a little bit, but I'm confident it's not going to affect my fitness, affect my performance leading into the World Champs. So what happened basically was last Saturday on my long run, I was up in the hills, running on the trails, and I just rolled my ankle, basically, like a simple, very common injury. I was at the time 10k into a 17k run, so I still needed to get back. So I sort of hobble ran all the way back, basically praying in my head, please don't be bad, please don't be bad. I managed to get back and then sat down for 5 minutes, and it really sort of blew up and got really painful. So just to really be sure, I went to the clinic and sort of had it checked out. Actually got an x-ray, but yeah, essentially the doctor reckoned there was no bad damage. So prognosis was 4 to 6 weeks, no running, no jumping, things like that. I kind of explained to him the situation. We're 3 weeks out from, or 4 weeks at the time, out from World Championships. So he was like, 3 weeks? So yeah. Anyway, I kind of knew that, okay, it wasn't a bad, real season-ending injury. What I've basically gone about over this last week, the first day I was on crutches, I couldn't put any weight on it. But what I sort of did was figure out, okay, what movements can I do? And just adapt my training, trying to still get the same amount of volume, same amount of intensities in the cardio sessions, and also trying to accumulate still that same sort of volume which is on my program through the hinging, the squatting, the lunging, pressing, pulling obviously wasn't a problem with the upper body, but I just needed to adapt things, adapt movements that I could handle. So the first few days was basically ski was the only cardio machine I could utilize, just with a slightly adapted technique basically. So I just needed to avoid kind of flexing the ankle too much, so it was more of a flat foot ski, but I could still hit my paces and everything pretty well. And then I got the rower involved, so I was able to hit thresholds on the row, the ski, also a bunch of endurance stuff on those as well. And yeah, I was also able to kind of like do heavy deadlifts and things. Day or two after that, I could squat. I actually was squatting probably 3 days after, just with lightweight and getting quite a bit of volume, doing thrusters and actually pistol squats just with a raised heel. So just to decrease that flexion in the ankle a little bit, and that sort of made it possible to sort of still accumulate a lot of reps in those movements. I'll just warm up the bench press a little bit. Okay, warning. Yeah, so now basically I've put back in everything back into my program other than burpees, lunges, jumping and running. Okay, so I can still get a lot of work done with everything I can do. I will imagine that by Monday, so that'll be basically 8-9 days from the injury, I will be running again. I'm pretty confident that next week I'll be back into full running program, hopefully with fast paces and everything. I'll just have to really be careful with it. What I've also done is sort of since Wednesday, totally switched my running threshold work onto the Echo bike. Now the Echo bike is, I think, a perfect adjustment from running to get this really the same stimulus. All right, so I can sit in the same heart rate zones with the same intensity as I do on the runner. So I get that same aerobic benefit and everything, and it's very low impact. So I have no trouble sort of getting into those heart rate zones and things on the Echo bike. It sucks, it's a brutal workout. This morning I had 4 sets of 8 minutes and holding like a 68 cadence on the Echo bike. That's for me around, based on RPE and heart rate, that's like where my threshold is. So that was pretty miserable, and yeah, a lot of rowing and skiing. So strength workout that I'm just warming up to right now, it's going to be a 10-minute EMOM. 1 minute I'm doing 3 bench press, other minute I'm doing 3 deadlifts. So yeah, good amount of rest in between each set, but not crazy. It probably will get harder by rounds 4 or 5, so it's essentially 5 rounds. Optimistically, I want to be hitting 90 kilos on the bench for the 3s and probably 140 on the deadlift. Pounds, you can look it up. A few things to think about when you're benching. It's very similar to a deadlift as well, actually. Really engaging your lats, okay? That's just going to create a good strong base to go through the movement and have no sort of flexion, or it's just going to create a lot of tension through your back to help the lift be way more efficient. One thing you want to be aware of on the deadlift, to take that pressure off the back as much as possible, is to get that bar right in against the shins when you lock in and start the lift, and then really think about pushing your feet down hard through the floor and maintaining that tension through your back so there's no movement through your back through the lift on the way up or down. Last round. That's good. Dan didn't have to save me. Lock in, drive the legs through the floor. Strength session, done, short and sweet, but very effective. So now I'm gonna kind of set up for the conditioning piece, which is a classic 40-minute EMOM. Okay, I talked about the 40-minute EMOM a little bit, that format in my last video. Yeah, so this one's not so much the intention is to create like that conditioning, like aerobic effect or anything, although that is a nice positive side effect. I'm going to get a lot of conditioning in at the same time, but it's more so to accumulate that volume through the functional movements. So in this one, I'm going to be hitting the ski on minute 1. I'll go 250 meters on the ski. I'll do burpees on minute 2. I'm going to say I'm going to do 15 burpees. And then on minute 3, I'll hit the rower for 250 meters. Minute 4, 2 lengths of the sled push. Now a length of the sled pull. So a length of the sled pull in my gym, I have 10 meter mats. So I can get 9 meters each way. So it's going to be 18 meters within that minute. And then I'll take the 5th minute as a rest before I repeat it 8 times through. On this one, it's not, ideally I'm not getting too out of control with the heart rate and everything. I should be probably spending a lot of my time in sort of zone 3, maybe a bit in zone 4. But yeah, I want to work on that efficiency on the sled pull under a bit of fatigue. Okay, so the workout, we're going 250 meters on the ski erg for minute 1. So that to get that done with about a 8 to 10 second rest, I'll try to keep it under 150 pace if you're interested in that. Then I'll do burpees. I'll go 18 reps, I think, within the next minute. I'll do them just with a stand up with the hands by the side without the jump. I'm a little worried about my ankle on that, so I'll just be a little more cautious with the burpees. And then we'll go 250 on the row, and then I'm going to sled pull down and back, and then there'll be a rest minute. 8 rounds. So after a workout like that, I often will just go and see what the heart rate did during that session. So like I said, that one, I wanted to really just get some good movement practice in, switching from implement to implement, and not make it too crazy, because this morning I did thresholds on the Echo bike, which was pretty brutal. So let's see what the heart rate did on that one. I would imagine I spent most of the time in zone 3 actually. With that 1 minute recovery, it really allowed to drop it pretty quickly each round. Yeah. So 147 average. Spent most of the time in the green, zone 3, blue and green, and was touching in orange for a little bit. 4 minutes on, 1 minute off intervals for 10 rounds, 8 rounds. Max for me is probably in the mid 190s, like all out max. For like, I really don't get there in any session really. In the races, not even really in the races, because if you go there at any point, basically other than the wall balls, you're at risk of blowing up. And your power output's going to drop drastically if you really go deep in the red zone in a race. So you want to be at more of a threshold effort, so it's going to spend most of the time in the orange. I've noticed over the years though that I used to spend a lot more time in the red zone, or like the heart rate would be higher. Not quite sure why that is. I think now, being fitter or having a better engine, it's more work for my body, or harder to like get that heart rate up to those higher zones. So I put it down to like that. That's the reason why I probably don't spend as much time in the red anymore in a race. For most of my hard conditioning sessions, kind of the goal is to spend a lot of time in the orange, like zone 4. So that's kind of your threshold zone. So I'll, like this morning, 8 minutes on an Echo bike. The goal was to be at that RPE sort of like 8 out of 10, which sort of sits my heart rate in that threshold zone, which is more or less where I'm racing at, and just accumulating time in that zone. So I did 8 minutes on, minute 36, so 20% of the time on, I'm resting. And I did that for 4 rounds, and then after the 4th round I did a 2K row at the same intensity, sort of threshold pace on the row. So across that workout I was able to sort of accumulate about 32 minutes probably in that zone, whereas in this one right now I just had like 3 minutes. But that wasn't the intention. This was just to get a bit of aerobic work, but like I said, getting that movement practice, switching from station to station and getting efficient with that. Okay, so last little training piece. I'm just doing a bit of core work to finish off. So I think a lot of you probably know I'm on the training program that I follow is the hybrid engine. Obviously I've had to adapt a lot of things this week, but I've still tried to kind of follow the plan, and with regards to movement patterns and energy systems at least. So I'm sort of getting the right amount of volume and stimulus, but just changing up different movements for my ankle. So yeah, last piece today is a bit of core work. I'm going to do 4 rounds of 15 ab wheel rollouts and a suitcase hold each side. So a lot of his core work that Anthony programs on the hybrid engine is really sort of like a lot of couplets, so 2 movements paired together, sort of supersetting. One will be more sort of for the core or rotational core muscles, and one will be more for the frontal plane, lower back. So, and one will often be static, and one will often be more dynamic, so moving. So yeah, today the moving one, dynamic one, will be the ab wheel rollouts, and then just a suitcase hold, holding a heavy dumbbell on one side, so you're really working the obliques and everything on the other side. Okay, ab wheel rollouts, 15 reps. And then I don't often get to use the 40 kilo dumbbell, but at least this exercise allows me to use it, so that's fun. 30 seconds just to hold each side. For me, when it comes to the burpee broad jump, I think a little weakness I have is just like, I'm a slow mover. So being able to pop off the ground, explosive through the chest, is something I'm working on. I try to actively be more sort of explosive off the ground in a lot of my burpees. I do a lot of bench press, push-ups. And then also what I can get out of that is really trying to be explosive on the ab wheel rollouts as I come up. So really engaging the core hard and ripping that wheel back to my knees as quick as I can. And that's hopefully gonna make my burpee broad jumps faster. So when you're training for the farmer's carry, dumbbells are good to use because they're more intensive on the grip. You can go lighter weight than the actual weight in the race with the kettlebells, and because the dumbbell wants to roll out of your hands, it's more intensive on the grip, because with a kettlebell that weight is sitting underneath, so it naturally wants to be vertical, so you're not resisting the turning of the handle as well like you are in the dumbbell. So like I already feel that grip working pretty hard on these last sets because I'm using a dumbbell as opposed to a kettlebell. Okay, the delivery van guy knows me really well by now. It's another Christmas today. Got some more Nike stuff coming. So over the last few weeks, I'm getting really good at opening boxes. I think this stuff is no shoes, but like mostly, well, this one's headbands. Some Jordan headbands. Okay, this one's shoes. Also, Jordans. Other than workout shoes, I do spend a lot of time in slides for walking the dog and chilling at home. So I sort of have like an allowance. Oh yeah, actually this is a Kobe shirt that I actually got for my wife because our dog's name is Kobe. So Kobe's kind of a part of the family. And that's a sleeveless shirt. I like to train in sleeveless shirts usually. More freedom for the arms. Okay, so last bit of the video. The other week, last week, I put out some, like, if you guys have any questions to put into my next YouTube video and anything you want to see and whatnot. So I just wrote down a few of the questions that I'll answer. I'll just go through them pretty quickly. So yeah, one of them was sort of what do you do for rest, active recovery, or lower intensity days, or if you do that within your training. So yeah, absolutely. Like every session is not full intensity. Certain sessions are working at a lower, moderate, or high intensity, so you're getting that good variation to just build a well-rounded fitness base. So yeah, definitely some days are going to be a little easier on the body. You can almost recover from them if it's more zone 2 work. For me personally, I have one full rest day a week. So on Sundays, full rest. So I'm sort of resetting a little bit and then hitting it hard on Monday again. So at least for the last few months, my weeks or training sessions have been double days from Monday through Saturday and then a full rest day. There's some sessions in there or some workouts in there that are obviously like lower intensity that actually promote or help recovery. Someone asked me how did I sort of go from last season averaging around 58 minutes in a Hyrox, and then this season more like a 56, so dropping a few minutes. What I would put this down to is just being consistent and being healthy for a long time. I know right now dealing with a bit of the ankle injury, but yeah, previous to that, I really have not been sick or injured, anything injured that had kept me out of training, like nothing. No injuries have kept me out of training or what I've wanted to do in training for about 12 months. So just being able to turn up every day and have that consistency and day after day, month after month for a long period of time has allowed me to sort of progress pretty well this season. So I would say that's the main reason. Okay, so another question is what's your weekly training split? Okay, if we're talking about Hyrox training, right? So often in like bodybuilding world, you'll be like chest and triceps Monday, back and biceps Tuesday, and so on, leg day, core day. For hybrid training or at least Hyrox training, I would recommend the like much more efficient is going to be kind of doing a little bit of everything every day, so you're always available, you're not destroying one muscle group. So everything's always a little beat up, but you're able to really turn up and hit good running sessions, good functional movement sessions almost every day, right? So that'll allow you to be more consistent and like available for these functional movements where you're really utilizing your whole body every day. So I think, yeah, being a little bit sore every day everywhere is sort of the sweet spot. Obviously some days you're going to be doing your back squats, some days your bench press and so on. So certain areas will be a little more beat up on certain days. But yeah, like I think keeping it well varied from day to day, not just week to week is pretty crucial to be available for Hyrox. How did you get better at wall balls? Okay, well the obvious answer is to do a lot of wall balls in your training. But that being said is, requirements for good wall balls is probably number one on the list is good position in the bottom of your wall ball squat. So good shoulder mobility to get under the ball. Okay, good hips, ankles, knees mobility to be able to keep your torso upright in the bottom of the squat, and that's just going to be much less fatiguing. So I mean, how did I get good at them is I kind of started with pretty good mobility, so I was able to just drill the movement pattern, doing different, using different implements, dumbbells, barbells, and of course wall ball to do the movement pattern of basically a thruster, front squat, press, and doing different variations of that. But yeah, like I said, mobility is critical. If you don't have it, then that'll be sort of the first place I think you want to start, and then start developing strength endurance through your squat and your press. Okay, deciding the New Zealand team for Chicago. So yeah, I had the honor and privilege of like being the captain for the New Zealand team. With everything going on for me that weekend with the Elite 15 singles and doubles, I decided to not participate in the relay team, but yeah, I'm still going to be the captain and support the guys on the floor as they're racing through it. So yeah, it was real tough to pick the team. We have a lot of good athletes this year. There's been a Hyrox race in Auckland earlier this year, so a lot more Kiwis have done the race and a lot more are training for it. So yeah, I had a real good cluster of guys and girls to pick from. It was actually too hard to just pick off the bat, so I put together sort of a trial system, which I sort of released on Instagram, and yeah, I had a handful of guys and girls sort of do these trial workouts, and that gave me a way better indication of their exact sort of strengths and weaknesses and abilities on the style of workout that the relay demands. So yeah, I put the team together from that, and I'm real excited to be a part of it and be on the floor with the guys when they're hopefully getting up there in the rankings for the relay. I had a lot of questions about like nutrition and what do I eat and everything. I'll probably save that for another video. It's quite there's a lot to talk about there. So yeah, I'll save that for another one. And then I also had a few questions about can we see Kobe. So I'll put a clip in at the end with my dog Kobe, maybe doing some tricks. Thanks very much for watching the video, and yeah, see you in the next one. As promised, a little bit of Kobe action to finish the video. Okay, I got some treats here. I'll show him a few moves. Good boy. Up. Sit. Manly. Good boy. Come. Sit. Footly. Sally. Super. Platz. Roll over. Oh, that was a pretty bad roll, but still deserving of a treat. Nice job, boy. Okay, that's a few Kobe moves.